Twisted Fairy Tales. This is your host, the Horror Queen.
When a couple enters the world of parenthood, for some, it's a welcoming experience. That was definitely the sentiment the parents of fraternal twins Gretel and Hansel shared from the moment their children were born. Gretel was born first and quickly became the dominant twin, as her cries were minimal compared to Hansel, who came trailing behind and less complacent than his sister. Both children were spoiled immensely and enjoyed the fruits of their father's hard labor, who worked as an operations and maintenance technician at the power plant in Maryland. His job was quite demanding and required long hours of work, and his wife became a loyal housewife, raising their kids. Their father took pride in his work and enjoyed working on cars as a hobby, even occasionally fixing his neighbors' cars. He would eventually teach his children the same skills and use those moments to bond, which grew even more during their teenage years. Gretel was more assertive, and with Hansel's relenting personality, she often spoke for the both of them. However, they all lived a very happy, privileged life until one day their father was tragically killed in an accident during work. Their family was devastated, but they were heavily compensated from the company to help them through their grief. There was also a large insurance payout that their father graciously put in place that allowed his family to continue to live comfortably for the rest of their lives. Junie, their mom, didn't want to be just a simple stay-at-home mom, so she decided to open an auto mechanic shop in her late husband's honor. The twins would often stop by, but instead of helping, they would make suggestions to their mother that was always shut down. This made the twins uninterested in the shop. Therefore, Junie hired 2 mechanics and ran the business alone. She soon realized how difficult it was in maintaining the business and decided she needed a partner. She hired a new mechanic equipped with managerial skills to help her with the business, and together they became successful. When the twins were 20 years old, Junie found herself falling in love with her business partner Liam, and within the year the two were married. At first, Hansel was fine with his mother finding love again, but Gretel became quite suspicious of her new stepfather. It didn't take long for Liam to assert his authority, becoming a significant influence in Junie's life, much to Gretel's dismay. The twins didn't take too kindly to their new stepfather's rules and often dismissed them. To make matters worse, their mother would always take her new husband's side over her children, which added to their frustration. However, without warning, the country was suddenly hit with a recession that dismantled the family's once comfortable life. Not only were they forced to cut back on unnecessary expenses, but their shop suffered terribly. Liam was the only mechanic left and began working longer hours with his wife by his side. Since the twins were inconsiderate with their spending, Liam forced the both of them to sell their luxury vehicles, leaving only his for the family to share. Although they continued to make financial sacrifices, it seemed that it was never enough as the family business was no longer profitable. One night, while in their bedroom, he sits his wife down to discuss their future plans.
Honey, I know how much you love the shop, and I love it too. But we're putting more money into it than we're getting back.
What are you saying?
I'm saying, maybe it's time we think about selling it, at least until we can figure things out.
I can't do that. It's our family business. It's named after my late husband, and he would have loved that place.
I understand your attachment, but I'm sure he wouldn't want you poor either. Which reminds me, we need to talk about the twins.
What about them?
Gretel and Hansel are adults now. It's time they learn some responsibility and get out on their own. We can't keep supporting them.
I know, you're right. But we can't just force them out.
Oh yes, we can. It's time we put our foot down. I refuse to take care of these grown kids any further.
Okay, I'll have a talk with them.
No, you'll just cave in. Let me do it. I got a plan for them. And I'll call our lawyer Owen in the morning and see if he can help us find a buyer for the shop. Okay?
Whatever you think is best, honey.
Gretel had a habit of eavesdropping outside the parents' bedroom door, and when she overheard their conversation, she wasn't pleased to say the least. The parents prepared for bed while Gretel enters her bedroom, and after moments of restlessness, she finally falls asleep. The next morning, the twins wake up and join the parents in the kitchen for breakfast. Gretel was still furious from the conversation she overheard, but decided to keep it to herself. After their meals, Junie cleaned up the kitchen while Liam pulls the twins aside to speak with them.
Listen, your mother and I have decided to sell the shop. We're meeting with Owen this afternoon about finding a potential buyer.
You're selling the shop?
Yes.
Don't we have a say-so?
No, you don't. As a matter of fact, we need you to mind the shop while we're at the meeting.
For what?
For you to learn how to become responsible adults, to see what it's like to earn your money instead of just spending it.
You want us to work? But we're rich.
No, you're not. And in case you didn't know, the entire country is struggling to stay afloat.
Meaning?
Meaning, if you two don't get your act together, we'll lose everything your mother and I built.
What are you talking about? You built nothing. My dad's money built everything, especially the shop.
While cleaning the dishes, Junie heard the arguing and stepped in to defend her husband.
Gretel, that's enough. We're all going to work in the shop today. And when we leave for the meeting, you will take care of it while we're gone. And that's final.
Whatever. Come on, Han.
She and Hansel walked into their bedrooms and got dressed for the day. Liam drives everyone to the shop, and they immediately get to work. The twins groaned and moaned for hours, only complaining to each other, desperate to leave. Then Liam receives the phone call he'd been waiting for. He and Junie get ready to meet with their lawyer. Junie handed Gretel the shop keys, letting her know she should be gone no longer than 2 hours. The twins watched as the parents drove away, and they both turned to look at each other.
This is stupid, Greg. I don't want to be here.
I know. Me either. How about we ditch?
They decided they would rather have some fun. Gretel called a cab, and they spent an hour hanging out at the mall and finished off with a meal at their favorite diner. They took a cab back to the shop and reopened just in time before the parents showed up. Business continued unnoticed, and after a few hours, the family drove home. The next day, the parents informed the twins they found a buyer and needed them to work in the shop again. The family drove to the shop, and when their lawyer called, the parents left for another meeting. Once the parents were gone, the twins followed their routine and hung out at the mall again, then returned to the shop just in time. When the parents made their way back to the shop, Liam received some concerning phone calls from customers, letting him know they couldn't reach anyone there and that the shop was closed. Liam was livid, but didn't bring it up to Junie until everyone was home. Liam felt this was the final straw, and he and Junie agreed to take the twins' bank cards and credit cards away. Together they ransacked Gretel and Hansel's things until they found the cards. Both the twins were angry and demanded an explanation.
What is wrong with you? Why are you going through our things?
We know that you've been skipping out of work, and that's unacceptable.
That's right. And with no money and no way home, you have no choice but to stay there all day.
That's our money that our father left us. You have no right to take it from us.
Exactly. And we're tired of you telling us what to do. You're not our dad.
No, but I am the man of the house. And as long as you live here, you will listen.
We don't have to listen to you.
Liam and I finally found a buyer, Mr. Carl Tate. And tomorrow we're meeting with Mr. Tate to finalize the sale, so you will stay there.
Carl Tate? The real estate weasel? Everyone knows he can't be trusted.
I bet it was your idea, Liam. And of course, Mother listened to whatever you say. But she did marry a snake, so she might as well do business with one. I can't believe she hit me.
It's all Liam's fault. Why did she have to marry that jerk?
Because she's weak. And I'm tired of the both of them plotting against us.
Me too. Screwed her, both of them. We should just take our money and go.
No. What we need to do is get revenge.
What do you mean, Grit?
Aren't you tired of them running our lives? Handling our money? We're smarter than the both of them. We should be calling the shots.
Yeah, but what are we gonna do?
I say we get rid of them.
You mean...
Yes.
We can't do that.
Why not?
Well, I could care less about Liam, but she's our mother.
A mother wouldn't betray us the way she did. Think about it. We can finally be free to live our lives and spend our money how we see fit. Isn't that what you want?
Yeah, but we could get caught.
Not if we plan this right. Come on, Han. I can't do this without you. Say you're in.
Okay, I'm in.
Hansel and Gretel shook hands in agreement, and they spent a few hours planning their revenge. The next day, the family gathered inside Liam's car for what turned out to be a silently awkward ride to the shop. Once there, Liam and Junie stayed in the office, gathering important documents, and the twins cleaned up the place, packed up items they were taking. There was a box of old car parts that the twins were most interested in. They began looking inside. Hansel found old brake pads that were perfect, and Gretel walks inside the office, engages in a conversation with the parents, seemingly distracting them. Hansel manages to sneak out, making his way to Liam's car. He carefully switches the good brake pads with the damaged ones, then cautiously makes his way back inside unnoticed and resumed his work. Moments later, they receive a call from Owen, and the parents finally left. The twins' plan was now in action, and all that was left to do was to be patient. On their way to the final meeting, everything was fine, and the sale of the shop was finalized. Everyone shook hands and parted ways. On their way back, the parents heard some grinding noises coming from the car, but ignored the sounds and kept driving. However, Liam, who is a careful driver, observes a swerving car moving fast towards them. He gets nervous as he tries to hit the brakes, but his car doesn't slow down fast enough, and he quickly turns the steering wheel, but to no avail, and the two cars crash into each other. Both parents died from the impact. The police found the twins at the shop and informed them of their parents' death, and the two put on a convincing, saddened performance. The police investigated their deaths and deemed it to be just a simple accident. Within months, the twins were granted money from their mother's will, as well as her life insurance. They were worth millions of dollars by their 21st birthday. Unbeknownst to them, a detective continued to privately investigate the accident and found evidence that implicated that this wasn't just an accident. One evening, he made his way to the twins' home and rang their doorbell. Hansel answers the door. Detective Myers introduces himself as Hansel lets him inside. Gretel makes her way down the stairs in a fancy silk red pajama suit. She greets the detective, and they all enter inside the living room. And immediately, Myers noticed there weren't a single photograph of their deceased parents anywhere. He asked a few standard questions, and they answered accordingly, keeping a cool composure. As the conversation comes to a close, Myers imposes one final thought on the twin.
You know, there's just one thing I can't figure out. With Liam being such a skillful and professional mechanic, it just doesn't make sense how his car could pass inspection while using worn-out brakes.
Maybe he made a mistake.
Seems unlikely for a trained professional to make such an amateur mistake. Unless, of course, they were switched. But who knows, right? Anyway, here's my card. If you think of anything, let me know. And, I'm so sorry for your loss. You two have a good night.
Gretel walks the detective to the front door, opens it, and shuts it behind him. The twins peep out of the window to watch the detective drive away. Once he was out of sight, Hansel begins to panic.
Great, I think he knows.
He's fishing. It's not like he can prove it.
What if he comes back? I can't go to prison.
Okay, calm down, Han. If he had anything on us, we'd be in handcuffs right now.
Should we call Owen?
Hell no. I don't want to alert Owen unless we need to. Just stick to the plan and keep you cool.
Just then, their phone rings, and Gretel runs to pick it up.
Hello?
Hi, this must be Gretel.
Who wants to know?
Oh, sorry. This is Carl Tate. I bought the shop from your parents. Anyway, the police dropped your parents' car off at the shop, and I had it repaired at absolutely no cost to you.
Wow, Carl. That was really nice of you. You didn't have to do that.
I know. It's just they were so nice to me, and they literally just sold the shop to me, so I did this out of respect. Also, there's still some of your parents' belongings here too, so maybe you'd like to come by soon to pick everything up?
Thank you, Carl. Again. Can we come by right now?
Sure. I'll put the items in the trunk so that everything will be ready for you when you get here.
Sounds good.
Okay, See you soon.
Gretel informs her brother about her conversation, and they both get dressed and jump inside Hansel's new luxury car, making their way to the shop. However, it's becoming dark, and being that Hansel hasn't driven there in a while, he's forgotten how to get there. Somewhere along the way, he makes the wrong turn, and they become lost in a wooded area. Gretel began to notice that her brother made a mistake.
This doesn't look like the way to the shop.
I think I forgot how to get there.
Why didn't you say something sooner?
It's no big deal. Just maybe a U-turn and we should be back on our road.
There was no way for Hansel to turn around, and the only thing left for him to do is to follow the trail ahead. Just then, Gretel saw a sign that read Brimstone Woods, which gave her an unnerving feeling.
You're in the damn woods, Han.
It's okay. As soon as I can, I'll turn around.
No, you don't understand. We're in Brimstone Woods. This place is cursed.
Come on, Red. You don't believe that. They're just scary stories made up by a bunch of weirdos.
What about all those people who went missing then?
I don't know, but they weren't killed by no ghost, that's for sure.
Whatever. We need to turn around now. I don't want to take any chances.
The windows were rolled down on both sides of the car, and they smelled a delicious aroma in the air.
You smell that?
Yeah, smells like gingerbread or something.
They suddenly see a medium-sized home coming up ahead that catches their attention. Hansel decides to pull into the yard of the home and stops the car, which makes Gretel even more nervous.
What are you doing?
We're lost, Gret. Maybe this person can point us in the right direction.
Are you crazy? I'm not stopping at some stranger's house.
Listen, we knock on the door, ask for directions, and if it seems weird, we'll just get back in the car.
The second it feels weird, we're leaving.
Of course. That smell, I think it's coming from here.
Yeah, I think so too.
Hey, who's out there sniffing around my home?
They turn to see a small figure standing in the doorway, but can't see who it is.
My brother and I are lost. We were wondering if you could help us out.
The figure steps into the light and unveils a small older woman with a cane. The older woman observes the fancy car in her yard.
Oh, she's some rich folks, huh?
Sure. You think you can help us out?
Sure, dear. Could you step a little closer? My eyesight isn't what it used to be. Ah, that's better. Yeah, you fancy all right.
That smell. What is it? It smells delicious.
Oh, that's just my special batch of gingerbread loaf. My children love it. Hey, how about you come inside and I can get you both a slice and after help you on your way?
No, that's okay. We just need directions is all.
His belly says otherwise. Come on in, child. I'm not gonna bite you.
The two reluctantly stepped inside the woman's home, and it's warm with an immaculate aroma.
How about you two follow me into the kitchen, and I'll fill your bellies, and afterwards you can get going.
They watched as she opens up her oversized oven, in which a grown human could fit inside of. Then, she pulled the hot gingerbread loaf out, sliced it, and hands each of them a full plate.
Thank you.
They begin chowing down on their slices, and the old woman walks over to a refrigerator, pours each of them a glass of red juice, then hands it to them. Hansel drinks the juice, but Gretel doesn't and opts to drink water instead while continuing to eat her loaves. Now that their bellies were full, they were thankful but eager to go.
Wow, you've got quite the appetite on you, young man.
Everything was just so delicious. I haven't eaten like that since...
Since what, child?
We recently lost our mother.
Oh, my dear, I'm so sorry to hear that. How did she go?
A car accident.
Oh, jeez. A mother is a precious thing. I have many children myself, and they always come by to see me. Anyway, Let me get these plates out your way so that you can be on your way.
Well, we thank you very much.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
I was wondering if I could use your bathroom.
Sure, son. You go down that hallway and hang a right, and it's the last door on the left.
Hansel went to use the restroom, while Gretel stayed behind in the kitchen watching the old woman clean up. The old woman smiles and excuses herself, then walks towards another room, leaving Gretel alone in the kitchen. Moments pass by, and Gretel hadn't seen the old woman or her brother. She decides to look for him, walking down the same hallway as he did earlier.
Han!
She stumbles into a room that was barely lit, but could see a large cage in the middle of the floor. As she walks closer to it, she can see her unconscious brother locked inside. While trying to find a way to open it, she suddenly becomes dizzy herself and passes out right next to the cage. Sometime later, she wakes up next to Hansel inside the cage, calling her name and shaking her.
Great. Please wake up. Are you okay?
Yeah, are you?
Yeah.
They share a brief and enduring hug.
I thought I'd never see you again.
Hey, we came into this world together. We go out together.
Speaking of, we gotta find a way out of here.
She pulls onto the cage and realizes that she can reach the large lock in front of it. She remembers that she has a hairpin inside her hair and pulls it out. She wiggles it inside the lock until it opens, and the two quietly sneak out of the room, looking for a way out of the house. They can hear howling in the distance, but they simply ignore it and continue onward. They stop to notice that the old woman is back inside the kitchen cleaning up, with the oven door wide open. They agree to attack her from behind. Gretel finds a stick lying up against the wall and grabs it, steadily inching her way behind the old woman. Hansel waited until the old woman was close to the oven, and he ran over to push her inside. They closed the door shut and could hear the woman's wretched screams, running as fast as they could back to Hansel's car.
I'm so sorry I got you into this, Gret.
It's okay, Hen. Let's just get out of here.
Before they can climb into the car, they noticed that all of the tires were slashed. Without warning, Hansel became ill and fell to the ground. Gretel ran over to help her brother up.
I've got you. We're getting out of here.
What the hell was that?
Don't worry about it. Let's just keep moving. Come on, Han. Please, don't give up now.
I'm so tired and hungry.
We'll be out of here soon. I promise.
Out of nowhere, her brother bites her on the shoulder. She lets out an agonizing scream and backs away from her brother, looking in complete fear.
I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. Please don't leave me, Gret. I'm scared.
What's happening to me?
She runs away from him, only to be stopped by the badly burned old woman. Gretel hears more growling behind her and turns to face her brother, who has completely transformed into a werewolf. She screams in terror, and the sight of his hideous appearance brings tears to her eyes, with a sudden ravished feeling approaching. The old woman reaches out her hand to Hansel, and he walks over to her.
I smell the evil in you two the moment you stepped out the car. And now, my blood is your blood forever.
Gretel quickly felt the wound on her shoulder heal as her hunger grew more with each second. She could only wait as her transformation began and finally accept her fate. The old woman turned her into what she's always been, a monster.